Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. It was just after lunch when my phone buzzed on the desk. I glanced down and saw Rebecca's name. "We are pregnant. Big news tonight." I read it twice. We, pregnant. My first thought was that this was it, the start of the family we'd been talking about for years. I felt something tighten in my chest, in a good way. I texted back a quick, "Can't wait to hear all about it," and slid the phone face down. By 3 o'clock, I decided to leave work early. I stopped at the wine shop for a bottle of non-alcoholic sparkling rosé, picked up a bouquet of fresh tulips, and on impulse, grabbed a tiny pair of knitted baby socks from a boutique near our apartment. I got home just after 4. Rebecca wasn't there yet, so I started setting things out on the table. Waiting for her, I opened Instagram to kill a few minutes. She hadn't posted anything, but Mia, her best friend since high school, had. A photo filled my screen. Rebecca, beaming, holding an ultrasound printout. Beside her was Evan Whitaker, one of the guys from her wellness app project. His arm was around her waist, his head leaning in close like they'd been photographed 100 times before. The caption hit me harder than the picture. "So happy for Rebecca and Evan. Baby Whitaker is due this spring. You two are going to be amazing parents." The tags led straight to Evan's profile. His last name was right there, Whitaker, and the comments were full of heart emojis and "congrats you two" from people I didn't know. I stared at the screen for a long minute, then scrolled back to Rebecca's text. "We are pregnant." I typed one line and sent it. Who exactly is we? Read receipt lit up almost immediately. No reply. The flowers looked ridiculous on the table now. I left everything where it was and sat down in the living room. Rebecca came through the door a little after 6. She stopped dead in the entryway, eyes darting from the flowers to the socks on the table. Her hand froze on the strap of her bag. "You saw Mia's post," she said. Not a question. "Yes," I replied. "So, who exactly is we?" She let out a long breath and dropped her bag on the floor. "Damian, it's not what you think." I leaned back in the chair. "You and Evan holding an ultrasound isn't what I think?" Her face tightened. "I was going to tell you tonight, properly, not like this." I kept my voice level. "When did it start?" She stared at the table. "About 10 weeks ago. It wasn't supposed to... Wasn't supposed to what? Be serious? Happen at all?" It was confusing. We'd been spending a lot of time together on the app launch. One night it just... 10 weeks, I said. "That's 2 months before we went to that weekend cabin. The one where you told me you wanted to start trying for a baby." She flinched. "I still love you, Damian. I do. This doesn't change that." I nodded slowly. "But it changes everything else." Rebecca took a step closer. "We can make this work. Plenty of blended families." "Stop." She bit her lip. "You've been planning a life with him while telling me you want one with me. That's not a family. That's running 2 households without paying for either." Her voice cracked. "Please, just hear me." "No. Tonight you're staying somewhere else." I stood, walked to the hall closet, and pulled out a small duffel. "You can go to Mia's. We'll talk when I decide if there's anything to talk about." She hesitated, but didn't argue. A few minutes later, she was gone. By 9, I had her Instagram open again. I looked at Evan's smiling face, the ultrasound between them, and the flood of congratulatory comments. Then I called a delivery service and ordered a baby gift basket, addressed it to Evan Whitaker at his office. The card read, "Congratulations on your upcoming fatherhood. Wishing you and Rebecca the very best." It would be there by noon. The knock came at 9:15 the next morning. I was halfway through a coffee and figured it was a package. It wasn't. Rebecca stood there with Mia on one side, her father Leonard on the other, and Evan lingering behind them like he'd rather be anywhere else. Leonard didn't waste time. "Damian, can we come in? We need to have a conversation like adults." "Say what you need to say," I replied, blocking the doorway. Leonard cleared his throat. "I understand you're upset, but Rebecca is carrying a child. Stability is important. Until Evan gets a better job, maybe you could bridge the gap financially." I stared at him. "You want me to bankroll the guy who got my wife pregnant?" Rebecca cut in. "It's not like that. We could still be together. You'd be the one I build my life with. Evan's just..." Evan lifted a hand. "It was just physical. She loves you." I let out a short laugh. That's reassuring. Mia finally spoke up. Look, this was a test. Rebecca needed to know if you'd step up no matter what. Unconditional love. My eyes went to Rebecca. So, the pregnancy announcement to me was a loyalty exam? Her voice dropped. I wanted to see if you'd be there for us. I nodded toward the hallway where I'd stacked 3 taped boxes. Here's what's happening. You're taking these, you're leaving, and you're not coming back. Rebecca's face went red. Damian, please. Leonard stepped forward. Think about the bigger picture. Family, future. I am, I said. That's why you're all standing on the other side of the door. Evan shifted uncomfortably, then muttered, Guess we should go. They filed out, boxes in hand. By evening, my phone was lighting up with notifications. Mia had posted a 30-second clip from that morning, which was recorded without me knowing. It started with Rebecca's voice trembling. I just need a little help while I'm pregnant. Then it cut to me at the doorway, arms crossed, saying, Not my problem. She left out the 10 minutes before where I made it clear the child wasn't mine, and the part where her help meant paying their rent and bills. The caption read, Some men can't handle responsibility. Sad. The comments came in fast. Strangers calling me cold, selfish, even heartless. I didn't respond to anyone. Instead, I screenshotted Mia's original post from the day before, the one showing Rebecca and Evan holding the ultrasound, and posted it to my own page with one line. For clarity. Within hours, the tone shifted. People who had been piling on suddenly went quiet. Some deleted their comments. The next day, I went through my bank statements and noticed 3 charges I hadn't really paid attention to before. Rebecca's car insurance, her cell phone bill, and something called Wellness Flow that turned out to be her yoga studio, all on autopay from my account. Looked back 2 years and realized I'd been covering them every month without knowing. I canceled them all that morning. By lunch, my phone rang. My car insurance bounced. Rebecca snapped. What did you do? I stopped paying your bills. You can't just cut me off. I'm pregnant. With Evan's baby, I said. He can handle it. He's building. You know he doesn't have... I hung up. The next week, an email from HR landed in my inbox. Anonymous complaint. I was harassing a pregnant former partner and sharing private medical images online. I walked into HR and handed Priya, our manager, a printout of Mia's public post, complete with comments. Then I gave her a timeline of everything that had happened. She scanned it, looked up, and said, Case closed. That night, I found my car plastered with hundreds of neon sticky notes, every window and panel covered, messages scrawled across them in thick black marker. Step up. Real men provide. I peeled them off, bagged them, and drove straight to the precinct to file a police report. Documentation was becoming a habit. The letter came on a Tuesday, tucked in with the regular mail. A low-rent law office on the return address. Inside was a demand for spousal equivalent financial support based on the length of my marriage to Rebecca and my established precedent of covering household and personal expenses. I called Alicia Park, a friend from college who'd gone into family law. She read the letter twice and laughed. This isn't even a palimony state, Damian. I'll send them something that'll make them wish they'd never paid for the postage. By Thursday, her response, complete with statutes and court rulings, was in their hands. That Friday afternoon, I was coming back from lunch when I spotted Rebecca and Evan in the lobby of my office building. She was talking loudly to anyone who would listen about being abandoned while expecting. Security was already on them when I walked in. I pointed and said, They're not here to see anyone. Please remove them. As they were being escorted out, Evan tried to hand me a manila envelope. The head of security took it instead and passed it to me later. Inside was a typed prenatal support plan, asking for $600 a month from me to ensure a healthy start for the baby. The next morning, my landlord, Mr. Delgado, knocked. Got a call saying you're running a drug operation here, he said. Deadpan. Anonymous tip. I handed him the expanding folder of documentation. Texts, photos, HR reports, and the sticky note incident. He flipped through a few pages, then shook his head. People are insane. Forget it. By Monday, I'd had enough. I took my folder to the courthouse and filed for a restraining order against both Rebecca and Evan. They were served on Wednesday morning. That night, Mia popped up on TikTok with a shaky-voiced monologue about A pregnant woman abandoned by the man who promised her the world. She never mentioned Evan's name, and she never said the baby wasn't mine. The comment section turned into a pity rally until one username caught my eye. Hannah Mercer. Evan was still in a relationship with me when he began seeing Rebecca. Don't act like she is some innocent woman who got hurt. She was cheating with my boyfriend. By the next day, people were asking questions Mia couldn't delete fast enough. Later that week, I ran into Molly Green, a mutual friend outside a coffee shop. She told me that Evan was already on a dating app and that her roommate had matched with him. His profile described his status as complicated situation but looking for something real. It was clear Rebecca still believed they were building a family together, while Evan was quietly looking for someone else. That afternoon, I changed my number. I locked down all my social accounts, made them private, and set an auto-reply on my personal email directing everything to Alicia's law office. A week later, I came home to an envelope slid under my apartment door. No return address. Inside were 3 ultrasound photos and a handwritten note. Last chance to be part of something beautiful. Don't let pride ruin 3 lives. Signed with just an R. I didn't respond. The next morning, I sat in Alicia Park's office. She already had the restraining order paperwork ready, but I told her I wanted something else done at the same time. Let's end the marriage, I said. She nodded, pulled a second file from her desk, and pushed it toward me. I signed the divorce petition without hesitation. I'd spent the last couple of weeks moving assets, shifting money around, making sure I didn't lose much in the process. I hadn't filed sooner because I needed to protect myself, secure what was mine before the divorce took its toll. She filed both sets of documents that afternoon. The restraining order was granted within a week. Rebecca and Evan were served in person. A process server handed Rebecca the court order and the divorce papers at the same time. According to Alicia, she tried to argue in the hallway that now wasn't the right time. I didn't care. It was the right time for me. No drama, no explanations, just the boundary. That weekend, I drove out to a marina on the edge of town. I'd been watching a listing for a small, second-hand sailboat. Nothing fancy, just seaworthy. The hull was weathered, the interior needed work, but I could see what it could be. I signed the papers and named it the Alder. Every Saturday after that, I spent hours sanding, patching, and replacing what needed. The quiet work suited me. Friends started dropping by to help. It was never about escaping what had happened. It was about building something with my own hands, from the ground up, with no lies in the foundation. A few months later, word reached me through Molly. Rebecca had given birth. Evan was around sometimes, but not enough to call it steady. A week after that, I got an email from Leonard. Short. No excuses, no long speeches, just an apology for the way he'd confronted me in my own doorway months earlier. I replied with one line, "I wish health for the child. My position hasn't changed." Rebecca never contacted me directly again. By summer, the Alder was ready for open water. I took it out with 2 friends on a quiet Sunday. For the first time in months, I wasn't thinking about texts, posts, or who was trying to spin what story. I thought about that message back in the beginning. We are pregnant. How quickly those 2 words had gone from joy to proof of something broken beyond repair. Rebecca had tried to make we mean anyone who would carry her through the fallout. Evan thought we meant someone to split the work while he chased whatever was next. Out there on the water, it didn't mean any of them to me. It was me, my boat, my choices, and my name on everything I was building. I tightened the main sheet, felt the hull lean into the breeze, and let the shoreline fall away. We were over, and I choose myself. Thank you for watching.